Guide to using WiKAHON English in the classroom. Once the student is ready to use WiKAHON English and knows which category to start with, they may take a selection from the box to read and answer. Students may use a notebook for their answers to the activities. Remind them to write the date and the title of the selection. WiKAHON English Pre-A. All students using WiKAHON English Pre-A will begin the first story in the first category. Students will work closely with the teacher until they become familiar with WiKAHON English Pre-A and master some, if not all, of the letters, and are able to decode words on their own. For the first two categories, the students will be put in groups of 8. While the teacher guides the first group in using WiKAHON English Pre-A, the rest will work on prepared activities. Here are some examples of English Pre-A activities. After the first group finishes working with the teacher, it is their turn to answer the activities independently. The teacher will then move on to the next group and continue the rotation until all groups have been guided. It is important to note that students are responsible for checking their own answers. After answering, they will return the selection to the box and take the corresponding answer key to check and record their scores. By the end of the second category, students will have learned 12 letters and basic sight words, enabling them to read simple sentences. As students become more familiar with using WiKAHON English Pre-A, they may gradually use WiKAHON independently. However, they must not skip or change the order of the reading selections. Since each one is arranged to develop reading skills progressively from the simplest to the most advanced. WiKAHON English A and B. For WiKAHON English A and B, the teacher first administers a pretest. Based on their scores, students will begin in the category that is most appropriate for their reading proficiency. The pretest has 3 selections and corresponding activities. It is recommended to provide each student with a copy of the selections and activities, emphasizing that they must work on them independently. Alternatively, the teacher may prepare a large version of the pretest selection and answer key for the entire class to see. Step-by-step guide for the pretest. First, distribute copies of the selections and activities to the students. Second, after 15 minutes, instruct students to exchange papers with a classmate and check each other's work. Post a large version of the answer key as a guide. Third, repeat the first 2 steps until all 3 selections and their corresponding activities have been completed and checked. Fourth, ask students to sum up their total scores from the selections. Fifth, once the overall score has been obtained, refer to the chart to determine which category each student shall begin with.